Charleston White's interviews today have now become a sort of a scheduled program for many people on the internet. From his controversial takes,
she can't do nothing but play basketball. I ain't the reason why just start setting. I be looking at the way she dressed. She don't want to play basketball. She want to hoe.
to some downright comedic gold.
Would you take $500,000 or dinner with Jay-Z?
Man, give me $500,000. Fuck Jay-Z.
But behind all of his antics, Charleston actually revealed many hidden secrets about the music industry, with one of them being about one person that went over everyone's head. In the midst of the whole Diddy scandal, there were many interviews of former Diddy affiliates that came out onto the internet and spoke their truth about the things they had seen or even experienced themselves, with one of them being Diddy's old bodyguard, Jane Deal. Jane Deal was Diddy's bodyguard from 1991 to 2005, and through those years, he seemed to have seen quite a lot of Diddy's episodes. Many people began to flock to Jane's interviews to listen about all the interesting things he had witnessed during his time with Diddy, and gave quite a lot of interesting information, to say the least. Although many people ate up everything Jane had to say, there was one person that had some questions that many people weren't asking, and that person was Charleston himself. See, Charleston had some disputes about Jane's legitimacy, while he didn't argue the legitimacy about the information itself, but rather how he actually even knew this information.
Man,
Yeah, that's
listen,
what his security guards.
Gene done snuck and got him some too. He ain't witnessed and saw all that, nigga, and ain't partaked and participated. They ain't gonna keep you around. They ain't gonna keep a nigga around to see all the secrets, nigga, and you ain't in on the secrets. We need some assurance, nigga.
Could Charleston's assumptions be true? Well, who knows, but they do sound very interesting. But although Charleston's assumptions about Jane sound quite harmless, he would also go on to expose multiple rappers for doing the one thing they claim to not be doing. In hip-hop culture today, there's an enormous movement of gangster music, where rappers who claim to be in the streets talk about their criminal acts and what goes on in the streets. Rappers also tend to bring street politics into their music, with their number one rule being snitching. From what seems to be the dawn of gangster rap, artists have always talked against snitching and the negative impacts that happen if you do it. But in reality, this will make most artists of this genre hypocrites, because they tend to always blatantly rap about their criminal acts in their music, basically snitching on themselves, which would then in its own right make them snitches. Charleston would then talk about this, saying how rappers even helped the FBI to solve their murders.
We wouldn't have never knew about smoking Tuka.
Is that what you feel about Dirk? You feel like that Dirk says is real?
We wouldn't have never knew about smoking Tuka. If it wasn't real, the FBI would have never been able to sort FBG Duck if they wasn't real lyrics.
Wow. So they're snitching on themselves.
If they wasn't
He would then go on to talk about how these lyrics also made him believe that that was the way to live, not knowing that that was taking him down a dark path.
I'm part of the culture. I'm from the culture. I once lived in the culture. I once submerged myself in this culture and believed in my heart that what they said in those lyrics is what we should live by, as if it was biblical terms. Yeah, I was a kid that was in. I used to live by those words, only to realize we was tricked. We're being tricked, homie, and played on with them rap lyrics.
He also went on to say that these exact artists are the reason for the height in drug addiction and how they made it appeasing for everyone to do.
Telling us we didn't know shit about Percocets till they started rapping about it. We didn't know what this opioid was till they introduced us to it. Now they got us on fentanyl.
Contrary to that, he also adds that the music is also responsible for the gun violence we see today, especially in the younger generation, and how they glorify that lifestyle, explaining how Chicago has murals of King Von all over the city, despite him being a known murderer.
Reason we have a developed brain, but we're not listening to this with an undeveloped brain. Our babies are. Me and you ain't shooting and killing right now. The babies are. If we didn't think it was okay, there would be no way King Von would have a mural in Chicago when there's documentation from the government and state and local authorities that killed over 5 or 6 people.
He even claims that rap music has done more damage to the black community than slavery.
Rap music been around just as long. When you look at it, they have caused just as much destruction and detriment as slavery and the Ku Klux Klan.
But despite the fact that it seems these artists are damaging the community, they aren't just hurting the people, but themselves as well. Because Charleston, on numerous occasions, would claim that these young artists are basically signing their lives away when they ink those record deals. It's like 1 minute they're dreaming of stardom, and the next, they're trapped in a nightmare contract. He would say that these contracts are full of crazy fine print that would make your head spin. We're talking about clauses that let the labels keep most of the artists' money, leaving them with barely enough to cover their expenses, and even causing them to end up in endless courtroom battles.
They giving these niggas enough money to go broke, homie. These niggas don't own they publishing. They giving these niggas, but we think these niggas is getting life-changing money where they can go, nah, homie.
Charleston isn't the only person to call out these shady practices either. He's joining a whole chorus of voices that have been speaking up about the dark side of the music business. Remember when Prince was going by that weird symbol and writing slave on his face? Or how TLC went bankrupt even though they were topping the charts?
I'll put it to you this way. We are the biggest selling female group ever. 10 million albums worldwide. We have worked very hard. We have been in this business for 5 years. And we are broke as broke can be.
But here's the thing that really got me shook. Charleston saying that this isn't just a few bad apples. He's claiming it's a whole rotten orchid. According to him, these unfair contracts are just business as usual in the industry. It's like these labels have a playbook for how to keep their artists under control, and how they're not afraid to use it. The way Charleston tells it, it's like these young artists are stepping into a glittery trap. They see the bright lights and dollar signs, but they don't realize they're signing away their future. Apparently, it isn't just the contracts that are a scam, but the whole lifestyle as well. So picture this, young artists living it up, partying like there's no tomorrow, and surrounded by all that bling. Sounds amazing, right? Well, according to Charleston, it's all just a big fat lie. He's saying the music industry is pushing this crazy image of success that's basically setting everyone up for disaster. It's like they're selling a dream, it is actually a nightmare in disguise.
When we see these niggas sign and they get these chains put on their neck, he in debt. That's the label's chain. That's why everybody getting chains now.
Although Charleston has many controversial takes on his interviews, he always seems to spit some hidden knowledge for the people, and in the process, helping out the community. Whether you love him or hate him, Charleston is needed in the culture. And if you didn't know, Charleston isn't the only one revealing the dark secrets about the industry, because it seems that everyone who went through the music business is starting to share their stories as well, with the #1 culprit being the diddler himself. Click here if you want to know about the disgusting truths Diddy was hiding behind closed doors.